Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Constitution is the narrative, and any narrative that need to be adopted or a nation adopts plays a very eminent part in development in the social pattern and ultimately bringing a nation to some sort of a destiny. The civil war that we see today in the Middle East and in the neighboring countries precisely because of the narrative that has turned into action, and they have fallen inward, infighting and all. And now we can see it has some horrible consequences. On the other hand, there is another state in the Middle East which has another narrative. They are outward very aggressive and they are following their own goals. And there are other states in the world who are progressing in Europe on a narrative that is on the social pattern and welfare states. So narrative plays a very important part. Pakistan, because of a proxy war which was played in the neighborhood, has adopted a narrative of jihad which has some connotation. And now, as they say, the roosters have come back to roost. The chickens have come back to roost, Pakistan. And now everyone is talking about an alternative narrative. What alternative narrative is, to understand, we need help from the scientists, social scientists, who teach this subject, international relations and on the social patterns. So to discuss this, we have today invited a very eminent guest who had been partly journalist and doing current affair program on a major television channel, and he is a professor of international relations for the past 30 years. He is a teacher in Quaid-i-Azam University. Dr Nazir Hussain, I say a very warm welcome.
Thank you.
Dr Nazir, what do you think that we need an alternative narrative, and if at all we need an alternative narrative, do you have any narrative right now?
I think it's a very complex, not only situation, but very complex question. Because if we divide the history of Pakistan into three major periods, that is 1947 to early 70s, you can call it 74 or I'd call it 77. And from then 77 to 9/11 and then 9/11 to onward, there are three different patterns of the state narrative which was given and provided to Pakistan. In the first instance, we had a secular outlook. The religion was a private affair of the people. But let's see, we can debate that whether it was started by Bhutto in 1974 with the promulgation of the Islamic laws, banning alcohol, giving Friday as holiday, 77, etc., etc. So whether it was the start of that, or with the Ziaul Haq coming into power, he needed a constituency, and suddenly the Afghan war starts, and we need a jihad. So that's a one period. This other period is when state provided a narrative that jihad, in order to defeat the communist power, jihad has to be launched, and more than 600 ayats of Quran were incorporated in the syllabi of the Pakistani different institutions. That played a very, very devastating role in making the narrative.
And textbook written in Nebraska.
Exactly. We have discussed a lot about that. And more importantly, instead of formal education, we emphasized on non-formal education, which is called madrasas. And you know very well, you have worked hard on that. More than 20,000 madrasas were proliferated, and that too with a particular brand of Islam. That undid the previous narrative that no, state has to do a lot in terms of giving a narrative. And then Musharraf came, and I use the terminology, when he wanted to de-jihadize the society.
De-jihadize.
It was not possible.
Giving a new word to the lexicon, English.
Exactly. The issue is
English dictionary.
The issue is that for the last 20 years I was fighting a jihad, and suddenly I was told no, that jihad was wrong. You have to. So what should I do? And this is more important, that I am living in an urban center, I am living in Islamabad, but the people who are fighting all along the Pak-Afghan border, for them this de-jihadization did not work out. So that is the narrative of Pakistan into three different. Yes, today we are fighting a war of survival, and this survival is not of Tahir and Nazir and anybody else. This is the survival for Pakistan. And this survival of Pakistan needs a direction, needs an alternate narrative which unfortunately or fortunately our media, our civil society, our silent majority had been accepting through the prism of the jihadist mindset. We have this jihadist mindset everywhere. In every institution of Pakistan, this has permeated. So today, we need an alternate. And that alternate has to be provided. Who will provide it? How will provide it? That might be your next question.
What is that alternative?
The alternative is that whenever we went astray or we go astray, we have to go to the basics.
Back to the basics.
Yeah, back to the basics.
Or course correction.
No.
Back to the basics.
Back to the basics. Why?
What are the basics?
I'm telling you. You know, today the Middle East is embroiled in sectarian war. So there must be something common, and that something common is the personality of Hazur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The earlier Islam, not the Islam.
That is the peg.
That is the peg. That is not, while we were talking about the city-state of Medina, that was a symbol, embodiment of all Islamic laws and principles and etc. etc. So we have gone astray. Let's go back.
What was that state?
Sorry?
What was that state?
I'm just telling you that let's go back to the basics of Pakistan, 1947, the speech of Quaid-i-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah of 11 August 1947. That Pakistan,
the Constituent Assembly.
Yes, Pakistan would be a secular state. Pakistan would be a state which would have Hindus and Muslims and Christians and others. And in the due course of time, the Hindu would cease to be Hindu, the Muslim would cease to be Muslim, etc. There will be just Pakistanis. What he emphasized? The rule of law. That was, unfortunately, by ulterior designs, he did not live for long to give Pakistan a solid constitution, a solid basis. And today, we have gone astray. And let's go back to 11th August 1947. And that is the basic roots from where we started, and we can go back and work for Pakistan's survival and Pakistan's existence on very strong footings.
You know, you're using a very strong word, but in Urdu translation, it actually hum bhatak gaye.
Bilkul, definitely we have.
You're saying that we have gone astray.
Bilkul.
So we need to back to basic.
Tahir,
fall back to basics.
Tahir, agar, let's see, if this 16th of December episode would not have happened, I think
we would have continued.
We would have, definitely. Because, you know, unfortunately, what happened in Mehran base, what happened in Faisal base, what happened at GHQ, what happened at Kamra, whatever happened at different police stations, we're just not aware what is going on. So that was a reckoning, a moment of reckoning that and you know, I must say it here, whether you like it or not, the political leadership and the military leadership were not on the same page before and after the 16th December. You know very well how Zarb-e-Azam was launched, what political direction was given, etc., etc. So I think the 16th December was a reckoning, and that 16th December also is a reflection of 1971, when we have to re-rise as a Pakistani nation. And I think the leadership was provided then by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. He rose from the equations and he led the nation. And today, unfortunately, it should have been
the military leadership.
Yes, it should have been the civilian leadership. But unfortunately, every nook and corner, every village, it's Rahil Sharif. And you know, I never heard in my entire 30 years career that a sitting army chief is on social media, is being projected that give him extension. This is first time ever I'm listening, I'm hearing, okay, if you like.
The people of Pakistan are pleading for it.
Yes, they are pleading for it. Okay, he is a man, he's a Sarvaya, he is a Masiha, let him continue. And that is a fundamental narrative which is being provided, because he is leading from the front.
No, that's not narrative, that's the leadership. Now that leadership can give a narrative. But what is the narrative?
The narrative, I must say,
you think that if the leadership, even the military leadership, if you are saying it's popular leadership right now, what is the narrative if they adopt would be the right one?
Tahir, I don't want to go into complex academics, but very, very clearly, what is the narrative currently? Let's put it like that. Okay. The current narrative is that here is a jihadi mindset. Here is a mindset even in our political parties who are promoting extremist. You know, you remember 2013 elections. There were distinct three parties who were favoring the Taliban and three parties who were not favoring the Taliban. Very clear cut. So therefore, there was a mindset, and what that mindset is that Pakistan should follow Islamic principles, should follow Sharia, should do this. They are, let me put it, three words: anti-Islam, anti-modernist, and anti-Pakistan. Because you know, when Taliban decided to have negotiations, they said we don't accept the 1973 Constitution of Pakistan. So they wanted a new thing. This is the narrative. Now, narrative does not come in one day. It has to be evolved. It has to be discussed. It has to be debated.
But do you think that the people of Pakistan are ready now to adopt new narrative?
Tahir, the issue remains that fortunately or unfortunately, the silent majority of Pakistan is always silent.
But they are ready.
They are ready. You provide them direction, they would accept it. You know, what is the basic fundamental needs of majority of the people of Pakistan? It's not food, it's security. If you give them security,
personal security,
every kind of security, as your institute deals with this, human security, their job, their social, their economic security. So they want this security to be ensured.
First.
And who would be ensuring this?
Obviously military.
It's a military. They are looking toward an institution which has given them a security,
and
a sense of
that
security.
institution is not doing something.
Exactly. And you know, as a footnote, let me add it. The CPC, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, even the Chinese asked the army, okay, if you give the security guarantees, we will move forward. Otherwise, it was difficult task. So even the foreign countries, our very friendly countries, are looking to the military to provide us protection, to provide us security.
And that they're giving. Okay, here we take a break, and after the break, we'll discuss what is the new narrative. So please stay with us.
It's diverse.
It's original.
It's SDTV.
Welcome back. So what is the new narrative, do you think, which is viable, which is need of the hour, which is very modern, but still which is not un-Islamic?
Exactly. You know, the one fundamental aspect or a factor on which all Pakistanis would agree that Pakistan should come as a priority number one. The survival, stability, security of Pakistan is a fundamental ingredient of our national narrative. Everything else revolves around it. Now, if you put Islam in before Pakistan, that will be a difficult situation. I don't want that, because Islam is universal, but Islam also has state boundaries, state frontiers, and Pakistan has its own brand of Islam. You know, in Pakistan, I quoted three examples. In Pakistan, the Pakistani Islam or Islam in Pakistan was never retrogressive, it was progressive. All the time it was progressive. And I give you one good example. Except for MMA period, which was 2002 to 2008, can you tell me any example where the religious leadership was ever emancipated to come into power? No. So that's an empirical proof.
Even that they say that was imposed.
That was military mullah ittihad, whatever people are talking about. So that is imposed, that is artificial. So in the entire history of Pakistan, the retrogressive forces could not come forward. The people of Pakistan wants a change. Let me quote it one example here. 2013 election, the people from DHA, the people from posh areas of Pakistan, the people who used to be abroad, they came back to vote for Pakistan. they want a change, a new Pakistan. I'm not talking about any political terminology, but they want a progressive, vibrant, and a Pakistan which is progressive. So first and foremost is Pakistan. Everything else revolves around it. Now, which kind of Islam should be there? I think now, because unfortunately or fortunately, the Islamic clerics have become a very important fundamental factor in Pakistani domestic politics. They are,
But not in diaspora.
no, not in diaspora, not at all.
Do you believe it?
Yes, I don't believe, I know things. I've been abroad, I know things that abroad people are not so regressive. They are living in modern societies.
No, but local diaspora.
Even then, they are not. I'm saying time and again that they are living in foreign societies, and in foreign societies, they are Jews, they are Muslims, they are Christian. I tell you one thing very frankly, Tahir, you would be, I hope you know mine. Once you fly from Pakistan, you reach Dubai, sectarianism is here in Pakistan. Nobody talks about sectarianism. Whether you are Tahir or I am Nazir, whether you are a Maulvi or non-Maulvi, a cleric or a non-cleric. So everything is here because it sells. It sells in Pakistan.
So you think that extreme right version, intolerant, is a product of some sort of commercialism
Exactly. Islam has been commercialized.
here.
Exactly.
So what is the new narrative?
The new narrative, I told you, has to be evolved. It is being evolving, and Pakistan is number one. As I'm saying that let's have an agreement that all segments.
What's next after Pakistan?
The narration or the narrative on which kind of Islam should be here.
Right.
A secular, a non-secular, a religious, a pure religious, and here the role of enlightened.
So taking some sort of religion is fundamental after.
Yes.
Right. What is the third thing?
Let me qualify
right,
it here.
right.
I'm not leaving it to retrogressive Maulvis.
Right.
I'm leaving it to enlightened, educated, modern, progressive, academician and clerics. I cannot name the names, but we cannot do this.
Okay. Right.
This is the second aspect. The third aspect is the security to the Pakistanis. And that security includes everything. I'm talking about non-military security, which is human, which is economic, which is social,
Which is energy security,
which is
food security.
which is even your important field of water and potable water, even this electricity, everything. This is the third narrative.
Right.
Once you have these three things, and lastly, the rule of law.
Rule of law.
That
Should it be the first one?
no,
first
no.
thing?
First you secure something,
Rule of
then the rule of law. If we are not occupying this particular place, we cannot implement the rule of law. So if you bring the rule of law first and then try to impose things, that will be very, very
The
difficult.
first thing, three things, what I understand from you, the military can be instrumental in playing
Exactly.
a role. But for the rule of law, it has to be the parliament or civilian government that should lead
No.
by example.
Let me qualify the rule of law. The rule of law is all institutions should work in their own domain. All 4 or 5 institutions. Now,
Right.
even media is a fourth pillar of the state. Every institution has to work within the limits. Tahir, why we are looking to the army? Pakistan is in war for the last 30 years, since the Afghan war. We are in a war.
In a war.
So in a war, there are special laws. In war, there are special rules. In war, there are special actions. If this war on terror is won, then the army would go back. The
And do you
civilian-
think there are chances that we can win it?
That depends on the fourth element, the rule of law. When the democracy establishes on strong footings, I don't qualify democracy in terms of voting. I qualify democracy in terms of 3 P's. Popular political participation. I must give you an example, very interesting, which I teach at my. Who was this Noshirwan? He was a Zoroastrian king
Yeah, he was.
in Persia, but his title was Noshirwan Adil,
Yeah.
and people revered him. Who was Hatem Tai? He was not a Muslim. So you have to
He was a philanthropist.
exactly. So you have to establish the rule of law where you and I feel that I'm being participated. My sayings are being given credence. I am part and parcel of the decision making. When you, in a country like Pakistan, where even the women at the 21st century have not right of vote, today what happened? In Deer,
they have gone out to
the vote has been casted, and a retrogressive political party, religious political party has lost the elections.
Yeah.
So that is the rule of law. That is the political popular
But in the last general election in Dera Ismail Khan, even the very modern PTI, and they decided that they will bar the women. It was an agreement between them.
That's I'm saying that if in 21st century.
So these are the three pillars of the narrative. Now, what are the chances? What do you think? What is stopping this narrative to prevail? Do you think people of Pakistan have enough beating and battering and everything?
Yes, they have enough. They have suffered a lot. There are political forces in Pakistan who still wield power from the jihadist mindset.
But do you think they are being weakened?
They are weakening.
Especially after this, what is happening, in Karachi, in Balochistan and Zarb-e-Azam and all that.
Tahir, still
they are losing their foot soldiers.
They are losing their foot soldier, but I'm sorry to say this, but still, in terms of India and Kashmir, we are using that jihadi mindset. I'm talking about Hafiz Saeed. So, at the one hand, you want a society to be purified, and the other hand, you want that this jihadist mindset should be the part of your security policy. It cannot work hand to hand. You have to make a distinction now and here. We have to fight a war. It's the people of Pakistan. We cannot give this right to A, B, C, D, E. Either institution, that is army, civil forces, Pakistanis, we cannot give our right, future of our right.
Right. Do you think that with new international engagements that the Pakistan military or even state of Pakistan and with Russia, they are giving new, military hardware and with China, now Pakistan, state of Pakistan, military establishment need less and less of all these jihadi element, and time is not very far away when they can have this change.
Tahir, unfortunately, the concept of proxy war is still valid.
No, you are right.
No, yeah, what I'm saying is, you start with Middle East. Even today, the United States of America is fighting a proxy war.
Right.
Through different actors, whether they are IS, they are Al-Qaeda, ABCD, they are fighting this war. But you are absolutely right that economic connectivity is knocking at the doors of Pakistan from all sides.
Right.
Iran, IP gas pipeline, China, CPC, Russia, these military aircraft, etc., etc., Central Asia, they are knocking at, even India is knocking. And if you don't take this opportunity, the time would not
They'll go back.
The time would
They'll
not
knock thrice and
exactly.
Go back. Knock.
I don't know, but last aspect in this is, look at the Iranians. How shrewd, how realist, and how practical they are. Today they saw that, okay, this is the best they can get from the Americans, and they did it. Successful diplomacy, by just...
And immediately after that, they came to Pakistan and talking to China.
Exactly.
And that was the American fear, that if they don't give them a deal, they will negotiate
They'll
with
go to the
P5.
Russians, they'll go
P5
to... Exactly.
minus US.
No, Tahir, the important thing is, by signing this nuclear deal, Iran has opened up floodgates of investment to the tune of $200 billion.
Yeah, Germans and other Europeans, yes.
And you know very well, the European companies are flooding to Iran, okay, we want to invest.
75 Airbus aircrafts.
Thanks God.
And other things.
Thanks God that today the New York based company has given Pakistan a B rating, that Pakistan's economy is stabilizing. Why it is stabilizing? Because security situation is improving. Exactly.
Oil prices, no?
No. Oil prices is a secondary aspect.
$113 a barrel.
That's a blessing in disguise. That's a blessing in disguise. Let's
Right.
talk about Karachi. That first time after 15 years, people have come out, thronged to these stores. 70 crore of business was recorded on last Eid. And Tahir, let me say it here, first time ever in the last 15 years, the MQM call has fizzled out. People had not heeded to. So if you provide them security, they can take on with the extremists. I'm not talking about extremist forces on religious context. I'm talking about even the extremist forces of the social context
And
that
the
they can
ethnic.
take on. Ethnic, whatever. And the people have resolved, okay, we don't listen to you. So alternate leadership and an alternative till the time you don't provide, you and we would be harping the same tone. That okay, this is good, this is right. Because we are fearful. We don't want to.
But what you're saying is that change is coming still from the barrel of the gun.
This is unfortunate.
This is unfortunate.
This is unfortunate.
And the civilian leadership should do something and think and establish themselves.
Tahir, you have been reporting from the parliament yourself several times and we're watching it. You can understand the level of debate, the content of debate, what is being discussed there. So are they, I'm not saying that they are not capable, they are capable, but they have been involved in petty discussions. Where is the national leadership? Well, lastly, let me say it, that any leadership should be guiding its ministry, but its ministry, the ministers are doing other than what their ministry requires.
Needs, and they are doing other business. So here we take another break, and after the break we'll try to arrive at some sort of a conclusion with a way forward. So please stay with us.
It's diverse.
It's original.
It's SDTV.
Welcome back. Doctor, what is the conclusion and way forward? Because just already we have talked a lot, running out of time. So quickly come to what is the way, what is the solution, new narrative, and what is the way forward?
The new narrative, I told you, have to be evolved. It does not come in one way. But the new narrative was awakening call on 16th of December and 27th of December. The entire political leadership of Pakistan met and they decided in unison, we go forward and to curb and control terrorism. Till the time you don't do this, Pakistan would never be safer, would never be progressive. And I think one basic fundamental consensus of all political parties is that we would like to move forward. We want to, even now, the retrogressive forces are favoring it.
Like?
Jamaat Islami, JUIF, they are, fortunately or unfortunately, under the barrel of the gun, they have agreed. Even Maulana Samiullah, they agreed.
Under the barrel of the gun.
Under the barrel of the gun. You know the inside story of December 27 meeting. So they have to provide. Either you provide a consensus or you are being given a consensus. You're given a consensus.
Right. So what is the way forward? How to do it?
The way forward is that today Pakistan is stabilizing. I'm saying in terms of militancy, I'm saying in terms of extremism. Once this is ensured, the military should go back and the political leadership should come forward, because we have various examples of you know very well, the military only provides surgical methods.
Solution.
Surgeries
is done.
Now the healing wound has to be from the
And the
political.
physiotherapy and everything.
Everything has
and
to be.
nutrition and good food.
Everything has to be from the political leadership. I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about the political leadership. All and sundry, all political parties have to provide. Otherwise, the history would never forgive.
Do you see that this is actually going to happen? And because you are saying the political leadership should provide a leadership for this new narrative, which is 180 degree on the opposite side.
Tahir, just yesterday there was a debate, very interesting debate on the floor of the Senate. I think you have read it.
No,
very
I
well.
missed it.
You have read it. Even Raza Rabbani has cautioned the political leadership of Pakistan that if you don't do this, something extraordinary, extra constitution would happen. And today he is talking about that Article 6 have become redundant. There are so many examples we can go and talk on. The issue is, two issues are important. If the political leadership does not provide the direction,
And I'm saying is on a very special reason, Because if as you have said, if you need a secular Pakistan, state of Pakistan declares people non-Muslim or decide their religion. So how you
No, in the
do
last,
it,
in the last,
do it
No,
because from constitution, then you'll have to take these
in the
amendments
last,
out.
in the last NAP implementation committee meeting, which was also attended by the army chief, it has been decided categorically that the takfiri element would be punished.
No, they would punish. But the constitution takes position on religion.
I mean, there, if the 21st amendment has come, there can be 22nd amendment. There is no issue. Issue remains of the narrative. The narrative is that if the civilian leadership would not provide the lead, then somebody else would.
Then boots will march on.
Then somebody else will take the lead, and that lead is already engrossed in the popular perception of Pakistanis.
At that note, we finish the program, and I think it's a very conclusive conclusion. So with this, we come to the, without any further commentary, we come to the end of the program. Next time, next guest, next topic. So please stay with us and keep watching our program.